So I was just watching the end of episode 6 to sort of refamiliarize myself with it, because you texted saying that you were creaming over episode 6.
Are we back or are we back? Episode 6 is the new best episode ever.
Okay, so let's
I want to
before we get into
breeze
episode
through
6,
5 so we can get to it.
We'll breeze through 5. So
Let's just go. What did you think of episode 5?
I felt like I should have been watching episode 5 with you, because for a lot of the stuff where we were seeing like the gang members and stuff like that, I was like, I don't remember this really. So I feel like I need Jack next to me being like, oh, like pointing at the screen, because then that would have helped my enjoyment of the episode. I still thought it was fine, but I didn't like love it as much as
I thought
episode
it
6.
was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never loved the design of like the farm world people with the noses and the weird eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little like uncanny, I guess, maybe. Because I guess they're supposed to look kind of ugly. I mean, the look of the world is really cool because it's like post-apocalyptic thing. I mean, the city.
It's literally Mad Max, like especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
where
it's very
Fiona's putting
Mad
on all
Max
of, like,
inspired.
the gear, and then like they go in, and then the guy's like, tires for sale, and then someone drops a cement block on his head. That made me laugh.
No, yeah, when they were in the city, it was I all that was the best part.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little worried that this was gonna be the main story thing, but this is really just the farm world episode.
Yeah.
And then we move on, which is nice because the next episode was amazing. It's obviously if the farm world episodes, Finn the Human and Jake the Dog, aren't fresh on the mind, then you're not gonna get a lot of this stuff, I guess.
It falls a little bit more flat. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't. Big Destiny isn't really an actual villain. It wasn't really about him. I'm not really sure. I mean, what would you say the point of the episode was? Because they're kind of just dimension hopping at this point, right? Like, it seems like they're gonna get a story in each universe and then move on.
I think that this episode served to do a kind of cat and mouse thing between the Scarab and the group. We know that Scarab is a big threat. He defeated Prismo, but I think this was sort of to establish that sort of. I'm not sure how to describe it. Like, I guess, like, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when like Sparky Boom Man is sort of like chasing them down and like hunting them.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of that, like, you're being hunted, or like when Azula and her gang is like doing the lizards and they're hunting the Aang and friends. Like, that kind of like is what this reminded me of. Like there are just these 3 people who are like, we kind of get like Simon says, I need my crown, and then they're out like looking for it in this world, and then Scarab kind of shows up and is just following them to all the places that they go in that world. So that's what this surged for me. It was sort of like more to establish Scarab and his like ruthlessness, because he fucking kills Finn at the end of it, which I was super surprised by. I did not think that they were going to do that. And then you see Finn's head get fucking speared by Scarab's legs.
Yeah, it was a little abrupt because that whole end action sequence is like, I thought it was pretty poorly animated, and like it's very quick how Scarab like stabs him, and then it just kind of pans away, and then the episode ends. It was very weirdly paced. I guess the action is never the centerpiece of Adventure Time. It kind of was weird.
Oh no, episode 6 had some pretty like close up action on Fionna, but I think that this episode was just sort of also to kind of set up that Fionna is kind of ruining every world that she visits, to like give her like a little bit of guilt about existing and being like this sort of anomaly. I think that Episode 5 was just sort of a revisiting of a world we're familiar with, a revisiting of characters that we knew. I thought the cold open, literally, was pretty chilling, and I also forgotten about Ice Finn, so that was kind of cool.
What did you think of what did you think of Finn's design, first of all? You thought it was pretty cool. I thought the weird part was his voice was just Finn's voice, which is also I thought was kind of weird in episode 2, where he just sounds regular. I really want them to get like a cool sounding, like, grovelly man voice actor or whatever, because it doesn't really fit. It was kind of out of place for me.
Yeah, I thought the voice was it was interesting because on one hand I get what you're saying where I would like to have a more gravelly voice, but on the a voice actor, but on the other hand, when he started talking, I was like, hey, it's Finn's voice. Like I kind of like that familiarity and recognizing like the character that I know.
Well, I hate
but
Finn.
He just looks different. I know you don't like Finn, but what was the? Oh yeah, the joke about Theseus's ship made me like that was very amusing to me. Like it wouldn't make me like laugh hysterically, but I was like chuckling.
Not everyone will get this joke.
Not everyone will get this. It's a bit of a thinker. You gotta be a bit of an intellectual for this one.
I did think that Finn's kids were cute ass kids.
Yeah,
especially Bonnie.
I thought Bonnie was going to die, and then she didn't, so that was good. But instead, Finn died.
I don't think they're gonna kill a child yet.
I don't know. This series is definitely a lot more, I guess, more graphic in their violence than the original Adventure Time, and also
I don't think they're gonna kill a child.
I think they could do it.
I'm gonna go on the record and say I don't think we will have an on-screen or off-screen confirmed child death.
Actually, fuck you. That already happened. Fuck you. That already happened. In episode 6, we see that Ice Marcy melted.
Shut up.
Melted.
She's not real.
Dead.
That's not real. She's not real.
She's dead. She was a child and then she died. So
she wasn't a person.
It doesn't matter. I want to make an official bet with you that I think at the end of this series we will see a child die on screen. You say no, I say yes.
Wait, you're so even more in my favor. You're saying on-screen child death, and I'm saying no on-screen child death. I don't even think they'll do an off-screen one.
I think that they will do either an on-screen or off-screen child death, and you say that they will not, and we'll see who's right at the end of this.
Okay.
Winner gets
their cheeks clapped.
Their cheeks clapped.
Any fans of child death in the audience?
Raise your hands. Let's see it. Sound off in the comments if you're a big fan of child death.
Okay, so that's the bet going forward. Was the romance at the end of episode 5 cringe?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was cringing.
I think like it wasn't cringe in that like the concept of it. Like I think what Cake and Fiona were saying, like the forbidden love type thing, was fine. Like Romeo and Juliet, we've seen it a million zillion times. But I did think that, what was the kid's name? Jay and Little Destiny. Yeah, so Jay, him being like, stab me, do it. I was like, okay, like
yeah, I know. If they had played that, if they had played it straight instead of like, they definitely laid it on really thick and like self-aware. Yeah. If they had just played it straight, like that's a fine concept, but like the characters both look so weird because they're farm world and they're doing the whole melodramatic thing, so they kind of wanted it to be cringe and they succeeded because I was cringing the entire fucking time.
It worked. I hated it. And also there's this weird like Finn, like Daddy Finn shows up, and he's got the flamethrower arm and like the sick like poncho thing,
gunslinger,
and then Big Destiny kind of like ignores him and is just like, yeah, anyway, Little Destiny stab Jay, and Finn like the character does not do anything, and I thought he was gonna like jump in and like, or like kill little Destiny and then have like Jay be upset about it.
Oh, the whole end fight sequence was kind of terrible. Yeah.
It's very fast paced and rushed a little bit, and I agree that the animation wasn't the best because Scarab is kind of like
it seems like they rushed it, like the animators, that like the whole team kind of rushed that thing.
But I guess the point was to kill Finn to further make us scared of Scarab, and also to get the ice jewel into the remote so that we can start dimension hopping for ice crowns.
Sure.
So anyway, episode 5 was fine. It was a little mid, but it had some enjoyable moments in it. You have thoughts about it. I'll let you go first on episode 6 because clearly you were pogging. Wait, cut that. I'll let you go first on episode 6 because clearly you were pogging.
Okay, so episode 6 was the best episode I've ever seen of anything.
Really? Didn't you say that for episode, what was it, 4 or 3?
Episode 4 was like the new best episode ever, and now episode 6 the new best episode ever. It starts really abruptly because you're just in the new universe. Yeah. So the first scene, I was like, where are we? I thought it was a dream sequence because you have the ice prince looking ass from the dream sequence in the first episode. So that took a little bit getting used to.
Has he shown up in any other Adventure Time media, or is it just Fiona's dream from the first episode?
No, that's why this episode's awesome, because it's not going back to a thing you've seen before. It's a whole all new shit where you're in another unrelated G universe or wherever we are now. I should make the map.
Yeah.
I'll make the map at the end. But yeah, this is a totally unrelated universe, and the whole time, it was so, like, I didn't know where the episode was going or like what the twist was gonna be, and you get the setup in the beginning of the episode that like Ice Prince, I guess I'm gonna call him Ice Prince, is awesome, and he just has this winter wonderland. You have the song. But then you know that something's sinister, right? So the whole episode after that, I was just like, what's the twist gonna be? Like, is he evil? Or he turns out to be a little evil. But I loved that suspense that's set up, and then you get little hints of it throughout. I loved all the parallels between like regular Adventure Time and then the new universe, which we'll talk about. I loved all the gay shit. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I was so excited because when Marshall Lee like came out of the bathroom like in a towel, I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Oh my god, it's like a meet cute." And then I remembered that there are parallels of Marceline and PB, so technically, like them being in love or like having a relationship is possible. And then they were being like cute and going around and doing cute stuff, and I was like, God, this is great. And honestly, whenever it would cut back to like the Winter King's world, I was like, oh, go back to Marshall Lee and was it Gary? Go back to Marshall Lee and Gary like palling around. It was really cute.
No, I loved both plots in this. It was awesome. Yeah. It would cut back and I'd be like, yes, more of this one, please. And then it would cut back and I'd, oh no, yeah, more of this one. That's my favorite one now.
It was a very, very balanced and like episode because the B plot and the A plot were both great.
Yeah, it was super balanced. I thought it was gonna be like, you know, that's just kind of in the back, like the Marshall Gary thing is just kind of in the background, but it was really like half and half. And then and then at the end you start to get like it literally intercutting between like the candy citizens that Gary is showing his cookies, and then Fionna and Cake killing those.
Killing them.
And it was so great how they set that up and then intercut between it. It was so smart.
I also like how they gave both storylines time to breathe, so it wasn't just like really fast, like, Gary and Marshall Lee are just doing like, or being real cute. Like, you would have moments of them like quietly like walking through the store and like tasting stuff and talking to one another and like really like you would kind of like get to feel like you're cozy in that world. Like it's snowing, like it's this really cute
It should
montage of
have
them
been
like
me.
doing stuff. Yeah, like why can't dogs ever be talking like that to me?
No, yeah, this is the length of two Adventure Time episodes, and it's like two Adventure Time episodes threaded together perfectly. Like the
Hmm.
writing is so good.
Yeah, it was
And the
a
stories are
really
so different, but they thread them
yeah
together.
that too. Like it's the perfect like Adventure Time mix where like there's an action sort of like classic adventure, and then there's also like this very slow and peaceful like romance relationship that was really nice to see blossoming.
Two pretty good songs.
Yeah, the songs are really fun. I was gonna ask you about what you thought about those because that also is sort of a return to form for Adventure Time. The art style change, which is sort of like harkens back to what we saw in the first episode with like
Yeah,
the sort
they
of like
went so fucking hard on the animation for the first. I mean, kind of for both of the songs, but with the art style in the first one,
mhm.
it and like everything in frame is moving for like the entire song.
That's why episode five's fight scene at the end was so rushed because they had to dedicate all their time and money towards this
Which can we
song.
just get this episode over? We need to get the team working on half of our budgets going into the fucking song for the sixth episode.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really fun, and also I do agree with you that it was sort of building that sinisterness because like the Winter King was sort of talking to our Simon, being like, "Hey man, you're kind of ass at being Ice King, and I'm perfect and I am amazing, and nothing can go
Yeah, it
wrong
was
because I am the
great how
best."
they set that up. Like he's too perfect, and
Mm-hmm.
Simon asks him, "Oh, how'd you control the crown? Like how'd you learn how to master the magic or whatever?" And he kind of doesn't answer him. He goes into the song and he's like, "Oh, I just fucking wanted to." And then he starts singing about other stuff, and then I'm like, "Wait, you didn't really answer." And then yeah, Simon is like, okay, but actually though, how'd you do it? And he's just not answering him, so it's
Yeah.
great how he just sidesteps the question. And then, oh my god, the can I probably biggest laugh I've had in the series thus far is when it's after God, I'm gonna go back to it. But they have like the intro song, they have the setup with Marshall and Gary meeting in Fiona's bedroom. And I think yeah, it's after that where Ice Prince is like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll make you a new crown, whatever. Just hang out here for a while." And he's like, "Feel free to partake in the pleasures of my wondrous kingdom." And then the camera zooms out and there's just like this field of like seven weird guys that all look stupid freaks, and one of them is like and one of them who looks like a squirrel or something just pushes like a curling stone towards this hairless mutant like chicken, and it just knocks him over and there's no music or voices, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's like, "Feel free to partake in my wondrous kingdom," and there's just these fucks hanging out and just being stupid. And then it just moves on.
I think I laughed harder at you describing it than what it actually happening on screen. Because I think when that happened, I like chuckled, but you describing it was way funnier.
I no, yeah, for it's not like a joke, right? But
Right.
that's the perfect encapsulation of like awkward Adventure Time humor that that is really hard to do, especially in a cartoon. That they just is the best part of like the original series, and then it's a perfect example of that. It's just this one weird shot that it lasts like 2 seconds, and then no one acknowledges it, and they just move on. That fucking hairless chicken is so creepy. Did you
Wait,
remember that?
I need to look at this because I don't remember this specifically. Like, I remember it when you were talking about it, but I
Did you
don't.
not see the hairless chicken at like it's at like 650?
I am. It's combing Simon's hair, and I do
Simon's
remember
hair.
when this guy and the present guy showed up. I was like, "What is that?" But I just kind of like I wrote it off as like, okay, this is just like the Winter King, and he's just like I don't know, he just has weird citizens.
No, it's great because they're not like whimsical like Adventure Time. They're like weird.
Yeah,
they're just weird enough to not be whimsical, and they're just kind of strange. So it's a great like visual. Something's fucked. I mean, the
yeah.
chicken's super fucked like that. I knew something was up when that guy was on screen. Ugh. Look at him with his one eye.
So we get this sort of intro to the Winter King and his world. He freezes Scarab instantly, which I think is also another point in this guy's perfect like category, because he like completely stops this like super big threat that's been chasing them for like 2 episodes, and he just like literally stops him in his tracks and is like, let's just like, go fuck off and do other shit over here. Like, yay, everything's perfect.
Yeah, Scarab's been the background threat, so that where they are
Yeah.
in that episode can be the main focus, which I guess is good. He's just kind
Yeah.
of like that's your villain throughout, and then you can have your little one-off characters for each new universe that they go to. So it's like a good format.
So then, Simon takes Simon up to his laboratory, and they start cloning the crown, which also is funny because like they're like, we have to go to every world to try to find a new magical crown, and then this Winter King is just says like, oh, I can just make a new one like immediately, like it's no big deal, like I can just do it. So it's funny that he sort of like just offered them a solution on a silver platter, and then the wall busts down, and it's crazy bubblegum princess.
She reminded me of Jinx from Teen Titans.
Yeah, it's the pink hair. She did also remind me of
The pink hair. She's short, and it's like in two giant, like tails. I never watched
yeah.
Teen Titans, but just the design of it.
Okay, I did, and she reminded me of Jinx as well.
Yes.
And she kidnaps, and I like how it was sort of like a Bowser and Peach type, like relationship where he's like, "Oh yeah, I get kidnapped every fucking week." Like the camera pans over to like tally marks, and it's like time's been kidnapped, and it's like a million tally marks, and the Ice Cows are like, "This happens all the time. Like no big deal. Let's just like go get him back."
Well, yeah, it was like these cool parallels between season 1 Bubblegum and
Yeah,
Ice
true.
King, where they're getting kidnapped, and like Ice Prince is manufacturing all the subjects like Princess Bubblegum does in her
Uh-huh.
Candy Kingdom.
That's true. I guess it's less like Mario and Bowser, or Mario and Peach, and more like season 1 of Adventure Time, which is what this is what the space is based on. So that's kind of
I'd
that
say that was
for.
probably their main inspiration for it.
Yeah, probably. But then so after we get to Bubblegum's castle, or her jail, really, we get another song, and it's also sick and really fun, and you kind of get to see all like the fucked up weird candy people that she's made.
But we do learn that that's why Ice Prince is evil, is because he projected the madness onto
Yeah.
Princess Bubblegum and made her Jinx.
Right. I think that seeing Princess Bubblegum, or hearing Princess Bubblegum sing, have we heard her sing before? I don't remember like specifically in Adventure Time hearing her voice actress really like go all in on the singing. Like,
Does Princess Bubblegum have a song?
I don't think she does in Adventure Time proper, which is what I'm calling it now.
Wait. I'm trying to think of an example.
The only one I can think of is when they're at the gates, but she plays BMO then, so she doesn't actually
She
sing.
doesn't
Maybe
sing.
maybe she like sings in an ensemble, but I've never heard her like do a solo song before.
I'm gonna say she. Wait a minute, Past Jack. I just remembered, without looking it up, that Princess Bubblegum sings the Lemon Hope song at the end of the Lemon Hope 2-parter.
Young lemon hope, born from candy and glue, creator of beauty and ugliness too.
So it's a full song, start to finish, with just her singing, and I remembered, I didn't look it up. Fuck you. But yeah, it was great here. I didn't think that she was voiced by Hynden Walsh because it was like so different in her introduction and like so crazy. But then as it went along, I was like, oh no, it does. That's definitely her.
Yeah,
So,
like you get to
nice range from Hynden. Shout out.
the more you hear of her, you're like, oh, that is PB. She's in there somewhere. I can save her.
I can change her.
But yeah, so then Fiona and the Ice Scouts and Cake run to the castle. There's this awesome montage of them like murdering candy people. There's this great sequence where Fiona like cuts up one of the banana guards like you would cut a banana, and then like slashes him down, like destroys them all. And like when she's cutting him, like the cuts like hover in the air, and she's like, "I'm loving this. The world is amazing. This is what I wanted. I wanted more excitement."
So back, and it's super violent, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really brutal. Like Cake is like crushing people with her giant hands.
And the great like comedic contrast between Gary showing the cookies and then like violently killing that fucking shot where Fiona like rips the face off of like an ice cream sandwich guy, and you just see like his skinless face.
That was
I like
kind of scary. Yeah, you clutched your pearls. Oh,
good heavens.
Yeah, but that was really good. I guess let's just keep talking about this, and then we'll go back to Gary and Marshall Lee. And then, so, you know, they save the day, they do the thing, they punch out the crazy Princess Bubblegum clone. And then Fiona, who, we haven't really mentioned it, but Fiona's been kind of like given eyes to Ice Prince the whole time. And he is like, "You saved me, kiss me," or he says, "Embrace me, Fiona," and he gets like dipped
Fuck me
by her, and then they kiss, and then he does this terrifying Tangled or Indiana Jones like face melt, like get really old really fast, and then he goes like, "Oh my god, I'm fucking dying," and then just disappears in a puff of smoke.
Oh, fuck.
Super traumatic for Fiona. Like, this
guy
the
literally dream guy that she's been dreaming
the guy
about,
of her dreams fucking kisses her one time and then melts into dust because like she's so fucked up.
Yeah, so we learned that was a cool tying up loose end of that. Like, we learned that the reason, I guess we learned that love, I guess, or like affection or something, melts Ice King or makes him lose his powers or whatever. So that's why all the shit in his kingdom is like weird and not real people, and he doesn't actually have anybody, and he forgets Betty. There's that whole thing where Simon's like, "Where's Betty?" And he's like, "Oh, that dead bitch. I haven't thought about her in years." So we see that he's super happy, but he doesn't actually love anybody. And we have the shit with Marceline, with Ice Marceline, where that was so great, where Cake's just walking through the castle, and it goes by Marceline, Ice Kid Marceline, sitting in her room, and she plays, like, she plucks notes on her bass that go with the score. And then after Ice Prince dies, it cuts back and she's just a puddle of water, and I cried. And no.
Another quick note on this sort of end sequence after they kind of slay Ice Prince, but not on purpose. And Princess Bubblegum comes back. I think my biggest laugh of this episode was Simon goes, "That guy's a wad," and the way he like comes to this realization, like, he's like, "Oh my god, that guy sucked," and Princess Bubblegum goes, "Yeah." I like, just the deadpan straightness, the way they played that was really funny to me. That was my favorite joke probably of this episode.
Hynden Walsh is always so good at delivering lines like that too. And she's PB, and she's right back to
for 100 years. Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it.
You get it. Thank you.
That was pretty funny.
What was the whole shit at the end with them, like, in the daycare, and they have baby Finn and Jake?
They just went to a different universe. It's like It's like any universe is possible, so they just go to like a baby Finn and Jake universe where
So it's just a weird universe. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just a random universe that they go to.
Fiona kills babies.
Maybe child death on screen.
We're rooting for a child death on screen now.
Well, you're not. I am.
You are.
Scarab shows up and he just spears baby Finn's head too.
Baby death. It's very graphic.
You can't just say hard transition and have that weird transition every time.
This is where you put the drum fill.
Okay.
So we haven't talked much about the B plot with Gary and Marshall. We get them meet cute in the beginning where they're in Fiona's filthy room, and the first time they meet, Marshall's shirtless, and I'm like, oh my god, the girls are gonna go crazy with this.
Our friend right now is also texting us, while we're recording this, he is actively texting us about how excited he is for
right, he was like, when I talked with him after watching episodes 3 and 4, he was like, I want them to do a whole gay subplot with Marshall and Gary, but I know they're not going to, and I was like, I wouldn't be so sure. So I know he's like screaming right now.
Yeah.
So Marshall and Gary leave to just kind of do errands, which turns into like a day-long date for them that we kind of keep cutting back to. We get this great montage where they're just kind of walking around the city, and it's snowing.
Montage is so cute. It's adorable. It's snowing. They are sort of, like they're just like enjoying each other's company. It's very cute. They go to like the fair. They got their little tote bags. Like, it's a very cute.
They get the coffees, and one's pink,
they get the coffees, and like
black.
his is dark, and Gary's is light. It's very cute.
I know who it is. Fuck you.
What?
Okay, I just figured out who the candy shop girl is. I had an epiphany moment. I'm gonna give you 3 guesses for who it is.
I don't know. I'm gonna say right now, I don't know who it is.
Okay. It is Lord Monochromacorn, the gender-swapped Lady Rainicorn.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Because they're black and white. They have a mane, and they have the bangs. They have a horn on top, and
they don't talk.
They're nonverbal.
and Gary is like tight with them, it seems. So that all makes sense.
I am so smart.
You're so smart, Jack. Good job.
I did it.
Pats on the head, gold star for Jack.
Figured that out. And then we get a weird thing where Marshall Lee calls in the lemon carbs to test Gary's cookies, because that's the whole thing that he's been talking about. I thought it was kind of fucking weird that he sprang that on him. That seems like a very big thing you want to lead up to. But it worked out in the end, because they get to bond over it or whatever, and it'll probably be a thing of like, you didn't want to be with those snooty guys anyway.
Yeah, I think Gary says at the end, like, he's like, I'm glad that they tried it now, because I would have filled with that pastry recipe for forever. So it's a good thing that I got the opportunity to like get rejected by them now, so I wouldn't have to do it later.
Yeah, exactly. It was a weird decision, but it works out. So.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. And I do believe that Marshall was trying to help. And I also think that maybe he's not super well versed in people and like relationships. This is like his first time trying it out, so he just thought that this would be helpful, and then it wasn't.
Well, he's like more impulsive, like opposite.
Yeah,
I really want to meet Marshall's mom, Hunson.
I know, I want to see.
Abadir.
Yeah, Abadir's.
I'm guessing she's like a rich tycoon or something.
Probably. And so Marshall is able to just like, he's like, I'm gonna live like a poor person because.
Yeah, she's rich. She's got connections. We see a thing on the Queenie bus that's like an advertisement for Abadir vacuums because they suck. A little reference there. So she's maybe a fucking, I don't know if she's a vacuum cleaner manufacturer, or probably just like a corporate mogul.
Yeah, maybe she's just like mom from Futurama and just like owns everything.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably more like that.
Yeah. But anyway, it's very cute, and then he's sort of like. I also thought it was a fun return to form of like Adventure Time, where he shows all of the candy citizens, and is still doing the like what Princess Bubblegum's character always does. I was talking about that earlier, and so he's doing it even in a non-magical world. He's still finding a way to create candy citizens, which I thought was really cute. And
it's interesting how he literally has like the names and storylines in his head.
Yeah, like he starts explaining like the zombies sleepover.
Yeah, that whole thing.
I thought that was really it was like a nice little nod to Adventure Time in the beginning. So that was overall, this episode was so sick, and it really, like we said, it was really balanced. I got more Marshall, Lee, and Gary, which I wanted, and I also got a cool Adventure Time story. And we got to see Princess Bubblegum in her normal form, not just like giggling in the tattoo chair. She like said stuff, and she was funny. And we got good action too. So overall, I think episode 6 is probably the best episode we've seen from Fionna and Cake so far.
Yeah, I creamed. Cut.
Predictions for what's gonna happen next, the next 2 episodes. Where do you think they're gonna go?
I have no idea, which is awesome.
Okay.
Because I know they're not going to Farm World. Done. So we're doing something else. All new shit.
All new shit.
Thanks for listening to the podcast, everyone. Remember to tune in to the next one this weekend, and comment down below if you'd like to see them kill a child in the next episode. Thanks again. Bye.